Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news that's tied to our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes and everyone who has subscribed to the channel. Welcome, new subscribers. Hey, if you are a new subscriber and you haven't heard yet, when I get to 9,000 subscribers, I will change the fit. I always wear the orange. Everybody loves the orange quarter zip, so I wear it every day. Except when we cross a threshold, like 7,000 subscribers, 8,000 subscribers. Now 9,000, 10,000, I might go shirtless if we could get to 10,000. But that remains to be seen. But 9,000, I will change the fit for one show. We are almost there. Welcome in all of the new subscribers who have jumped on in the last couple of days. Also, thank you to everyone who has scanned the QR code and become members of the Browns' latest dog pound. That was supposed to be the bark. It never barks when I want it to bark. One more time. Thank you to everyone who has scanned the QR code and become members of the Browns' latest dog pound. We'll get back to that. And to everyone who gets their comments in the viewer comment section. Apparently, the ball thinks we are going to score a ton this Sunday against Green Bay. And speaking of which, we haven't even played the third game of the season yet. One of our coaches is already being tied to a new job. Also going to share what surprised me the most about the early predictions that are coming in on Sunday's game with the Pack Attack. I've got to get something off my chest today. It's my biggest beef with Kevin Stefanski as head coach. And then down in the viewer comments, Shedeur Sanders handles a very awkward situation like a pro. We'll get to all of that. But first things first, the unofficial Week 3 depth chart, which the unofficial depth chart is officially useless. I mean, I don't get it. But the things to note, Flacco QB1. So we were promised that would happen, and, well, that happened. And but Judkins RB1, which that's the way it should be. It should be Judkins, Sampson, Ford's third. Where was that on Sunday? Why was Ford in there so much? Oh, brother. Anyway, now the depth chart looks sort of like a depth chart. DeAndre Carter's still in there, although he's in concussion protocol, but that's why it's useless. Do we ever have an official depth chart? Can we have one that means something? Why do we even put this out? It's completely useless. It doesn't mean a thing. Is it like some box that we have to check off with the NFL? I don't get it. But anyway, there it is. Now this. Tommy Rees already being tied to the UCLA gig. They fired Deshaun Foster, which I knew that was going to be a disaster from the... Go back and look up the first press conference Deshaun Foster ever had with UCLA. Tell you everything you need to know. That was a disaster in the making. You can see it coming a mile away. It's over now. But ESPN already saying Tommy Rees going to go to UCLA. Why? Here's why. He was born in Los Angeles, has ties to the UCLA program through his father, Bill, a Bruins assistant from 1979 to 1994 under Terry Donahue. Tommy Rees, he's quickly rising up those coaching ranks, but he's only 33, and he's a strong candidate for the North Carolina job that Bill Belichick took this past offseason, and he will likely, according to ESPN, be leading his own team in the near future. It never ends. But here's the thing. This could actually work to our advantage, because if Rees wants to coach his own college team, this offense has to start doing something. I mean, he's going to have to impress somebody, right? Unless UCLA just says, hey, we know your dad. You're good. Come on in. So that can help us, even though he's tied to this gig. But like I said yesterday, I would prefer to see Rees take over the entire offense. Let's move Stefanski out. Let's promote Schwartz to head coach. Let him run the defense too, just like Greg Williams. Well, I don't know why we got rid of Greg Williams when we stuck Greg Williams in there. I said, we got our coach. We found our coach. And then he got 5 or 6 games there. And I guess he did too well. They were like, what is this? What's he doing? We're winning games. People like them. The team's bought in. What do we? Get rid of that. We got to blow that up. That's exactly what happened with Greg Williams. But I just think the defense, like Schwartz, God, you just see that. Like they seem to get it. But anyway, I digress. So even though Rees has probably got one eye out west, gonna be good for us because he got to turn this offense around. So if he wants to find another job. Now, one thing I found was I thought we'd do something a little different this week. We got to change the mojo. I mean, we're 0-2. You got to mix things up. You can't keep doing the same things every week that you do. If you're 0-2, you're on a losing streak, got to mix it up. Baseball player, very superstitious. Things like that happen. Can't take the baseball player out of the Polish kid. I don't know, whatever. Here's the deal. I was surprised. When you start looking at the early predictions, I was thinking they're going to have us getting lambasted by Green Bay on Sunday. But they're not. Look at ESPN again. They say the Packers have a 70% chance to win. At least it's not 100, right? I figured that would have been higher. I thought they would have been like 90% the way things are going. But I'm going to take that as a win. 70%. All right, we could win 3 out of 10 times. We could beat Green Bay. I always find a way for us to beat anybody we're playing. The coach in me comes out every single week, and then everybody laughs at me. But I'm sorry. That's what I do. I just try to figure out how we're going to beat this team. And we can beat this team. With the defense we have, we could beat this team. Dimers, whatever that is, 24-19. Take the points, they're saying. 8.5-point dogs are the Brownies. Of course, the Packers, 2-0, coming off that big win against the Commandos on that Thursday night game. That was a lock. Holy cow, that was a lock. And they also beat Detroit. But then Detroit beat the crap out of their old OC last week. They took it out on them. You got to look for that revenge stuff. The revenge stuff comes, especially in like when guys are, they want to stick it to their old team or, just like Rodgers, like that stuff happens. Like those are bets to make. You want to win some money. Those are bets to make. I digress. Sports not. Got the Browns in it. Might have to tease it up a little bit. Sports betting dime. If only we did points in the score, but they got a 9. That's like a fantasy score. 19.8 to a 7.4. So Packers cover it. And then the Packers from the Arizona Public beating the Browns by 15. Now, one thing I hate when you get these predictions, I love when they predict it right on the number. Like I'm surprised that some people aren't saying, oh, Packers 20, Browns 12, or Browns 11. The number's 8.5, and this can be 8, 9, depending on where you look. So they the safe route is to always pick it right on number. So at least so tease it up a little bit, and you're good. Tease it up because when the Browns pull off the upset, you don't have to worry about it. So, because there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. Hey, 70% chance, according to ESPN. All right, now, next. We got to get to my biggest beef with Kevin Stefanski's style. I've been saying this for years, folks, for as long as, probably since about the second or third year he's been our coach. And I can't take the play calling anymore. I can't take the play card, the Denny's menu. It's driving me crazy because here's what I think. When you're sitting there I was looking for a prop. Here, let me grab a prop. When you're sitting there with the play card in your face the whole game, how can you see what is going on around you? How do you know what is going on around you when you're so focused on calling the next play? Which this is why I wonder, did he not see that we were running the ball at 6 yards a clip the other day? If you watched the Monday night game, the Houston game, who was it? Was it, it was Bucky Irving, I think. Bucky Irving had 6 carries. He was already at 6 yards a carry. And Aikman said something about it. He goes, when you're running the ball like that, you just keep giving it. I'm like, exactly. We're the only team that doesn't do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I need Aikman to call Stefanski as soon as possible and explain that to him. Because we were running for 6 yards a carry the other day, and we decided to throw it 45 times and run it 22 times. I told you. There were like 6 running backs in the league that had more carries than the whole Browns team on Sunday. And we were running for 6 yards a clip. Makes me insane. This is my biggest beef. Like, you either have to be the head coach and see the whole picture or not. Because And this has been going on for years. You just don't see what's going on around you when you got your face in the play card the whole game. I don't see how you could. How could you be dialed into everything that's going on? I thought that contributed to the Baker thing too. I'm like, how can you do that? Here's the other thing. The in-game decisions, they just don't happen. Why don't we have no halftime adjustments on Sunday? I think we're so worried about the offense and the play card and what play we're going to call next, so we don't have time to think about that stuff. And I used to get on Terry Francona when he was the Guardians manager for in-game decisions. You have to manage that team like it's the 7th game of the World Series every single day. That's what Stephen Vogt is doing. And look at what this team is doing. Last year, we were right there when ALCS. This year, we're on the brink of a playoff berth again with Vogt, and Vogt had less last year than Francona ever had. Then this year, Vogt's got less than what he had last year, and he still got them on the brink of the playoffs because he manages his team like it is the 7th game of the World Series every single day. Kevin Stefanski might want to think about that. You need to coach this team. You need to be involved in every facet, because right now there's only one facet that's working. And if I'm the head coach, I want to get the bottom of everything, and I want a clear view of everything. I don't want the play card in my face. I can't see Bubba Ventrone screwing up special teams. I can't see that we're running the ball for 6 yards a clip. I'm too busy working. What are we going to call next? Oh, I know. A pass. Ooh, our 40-year-old quarterback. Let's drop him back 7, 8 yards and see what happens. What do you think's going to happen? That's my biggest beef. This has got to stop. The play card has got to go. My buddy used to send me, he probably will after watching this. He'll send me another picture of Stefanski with the play card. He loves sending me Stefanski play card pictures because he knows how much it drives me crazy. That's my beef. But I never have a beef with the viewer comments. And today we're going to start with my man, Temperius1, who says, echoes my sentiments. 0 in-game flexibility. Bad things, man. Bad things. In basketball, the teams go with the hot hand. Why can't we do that? I 100% agree. You know why? Because we don't even know we have a hot hand. Because we're looking at the play card. That's what we're doing. How would he know? Temperius, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just venting. So this has been 4 years building up for me. I thought we were over. I thought he fixed it against Cincinnati. Nope. We're right back to it. Temperius also says we need to start paying millions to guys who can actually catch the ball. I agree. That's a good plan, Temperius. Call Perea. See what they think. Seals guy says, simplify the offense for the rookies. We're beyond Flacco. Flacco's 2 games and done. Like if that, I would even consider with Green Bay at home, I would make the switch to the rookies already. There's no point. There is no point in starting Flacco because you know this is over. It's over, done. So what's done is done. You just rip off the Band-Aid and let's go. But we're not going to do that because this is Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. So we're going to let old man Joe go out there a couple of more games, and then we're going to decide on the future. And I agree with this plan. And we talked a little bit about this last week going into the Baltimore game. Seals guy, simplify the offense for both rookies. Have a quick throw, rhythm play selections to reduce the possible sacks, run the ball, and let's see what the rookies do. The offense right now is too bland. Get away from that play action stuff because the receivers don't scare any defenses. And Seals guy, if we'd have done that on Sunday with Flacco, we might have won. It was only 10-3 at halftime. It was 10-3 at halftime. That's what people are going to look at that score and go, oh, same old Browns got their asses kicked again. No, it was 10-3 at halftime, but we don't make any halftime adjustments. And then we end up we did get our asses kicked in the second half. So that's Seals guy, I'm with you. And it goes back to from coaching kids. You got to make things simple. You got to get good at something first before you start adding stuff to it. So I'm with you, man. I am totally with you. You know what? I'm saying don't even do that for the rookies. Do it for Flacco because he's practically a rookie. He's on the other end. You know how they always say, when you're born, you start out like a baby, you know, because you're bald, and then when you're old and you die, you start out, you know, you look at your bald, and you end up the same way. Well, that's what the situation we're in. We got the babies and we got the old man. So simplify the offense. Do quick passes. Let's go and run the ball. Especially when you're running at 6 yards a clip. Brandon Ware, 78-73. Keep the tight ends on the field and quick passing. See, we all got this figured out. Well, if Rees leaves, they'll need an OC so we can go and teach them how to throw the quick passes. One of us can get hired. Maybe that's the solution. Mark Smith. This is a good question. Do you think that it showed a lack of professional integrity for Adam Schefter of ESPN to drop Sanders' draft day decision about the Ravens before the game? ESPN playing clickbait and disrespectful to all the starters for both teams. He does have a point, because it did shift the whole focus of that game to, you know, to that. But hold on. They are worse than all of the rest of the clickbait podcasts because they're so much bigger and should do better than follow. Try leading ESPN or just watch Grizzer. LOL. I love that. Thanks, Mark Smith. I appreciate it. Now, here's the thing. Yes, of course he was saving that for the Ravens game. I mean, he was sitting on that. He couldn't wait to use that during the Ravens game. But here's the thing. Shedeur handled it like a pro. This guy is a pro when it comes to stuff like this. Because here's what he said when they asked him about it after the game. They said, what's your response? Schefter says you told Baltimore you don't want to. Now, it does make a lot of sense. You know, he doesn't want to sit, so he's looking for an opportunity to play right away, or at least soon. And so, remember, they said it was Dion and his, you know, they were like, Flacco, isn't he like, you know, he's like 40? He's kind of old, you know? So they knew Flacco wasn't a long-term thing, and then they just, I guess, underestimated the fact that the Browns were going to take a under 6-foot quarterback, because no one is under 6 foot has ever won a Super Bowl in the NFL. So the Browns thought, well, maybe we could be the first ones to do that. So let's take Dylan Gabriel. And they just didn't see that coming. Of course, nobody saw that coming. But here's the response. My response is, I'm focused on the now, Sanders said after the game. This is through ESPN. I don't really talk about anything in the past, and whatever happened in the past, it is what it is. I'm more focused on now. I'm more focused on how this game that we just gone and had, and figuring out how to move forward from now. And so that's the way you handle that. You want it to go away? You say, look, the past is the past, you know? It's like, I don't know, somebody comes and asks you about your old girlfriend, but I don't know, past is I don't know what, you know, past is the past. I'm more worried about moving on, looking to the future. That was a perfect response. What could have been a seriously awkward situation, he flipped the script, did a great job, and it's a dead story now. It never really got past Sunday's game. It's a dead story. There's no point of even talking about it because of the way he handled it. And so kudos to Shedeur on that one. And a great question, Mark Smith, 3396. And yes, tell ESPN to watch Grizzer. I like your advice. Dorsey is where we're going to end. 71-29. Says, come on, man. The Browns do not have that kind of talent at wideout for you to mention a playmaker. I said Judy's not a number one receiver. I don't remember when I said a playmaker. Well, Bond could be a playmaker, but we don't know because we don't give him the ball. We go through all this trouble to get him, and he's got 4.3 speed. We're going to brag about him, but then we don't give him the ball. So, I mean, maybe that's what you're talking about, Dorsey. But he says also, I'm starting to believe that Watson was looking bad as a result of Kevin's play calling and lack of ability to coach him up. Nah. Watson is a complete mess, and he will never. Do you see there's more videos of Watson dropping back looking like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite? If you haven't seen Napoleon Dynamite, just look up the Uncle Rico scene. Those are the videos of Deshaun Watson that we get to see now. But Haslam already said, swing and a miss. It is over. They're only dotting the I's and crossing the T's so they can move him along and get him off of their books. They don't want to do anything to screw that up. I think secretly they're probably, hoping that maybe he can't come back because of the Achilles. But look at the Uncle Rico videos. You'll see he's out there doing his thing. Bet you could throw that football over the mountain. Look it up. But I think Watson I think it's a combination. Watson's just not any good. I mean, he's just not. Worm burners and air balls. I mean, Stefanski, like, there were guys wide open. Dorsey, I went to training camp last year, and I watched him throw. It was the first play of the practice. It was a play. It was full go, play action, roll right. Elijah Moore wide open down the sideline. Nobody within 10 yards of him. Watson overthrew him by 30 yards. Wasn't even close. I'm telling you, Dorsey, I love you, man. I love the takes. I love that you jump into the comments, but Watson is just no. He's not good. Okay, that's going to do it for today's show. All right, here we go. Let's try. Thank you to everyone who has scanned the QR code and become members of the Browns' latest Dog Pound. That's how it's supposed to work. All right, there we go. All right. Hey, Green Bay forget the Packers are coming. New week. That's what's recorded about the NFL. You feel bad on Sunday night. You feel a little bad on Monday. But then Tuesday and Wednesday come and everything changes. Start looking to the future. We could pull off this upset, turn the season around, right? That's the way you got to look at it. With our defense, we can beat anybody on any given Sunday. So that's where I'm living right now. Positive vibes. We got to stay positive, folks. We can turn this around. The season is not over. 0-2 does not mean your season's over. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.